Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily. I'm a 45-year-old cash stuffer. I have 3 teenagers, one which will be going off to college in 1 week. So it's an exciting time in our house right now. We're kind of feeling all the feels, but we're really looking forward to watching him grow into an adult and be successful on his own. So as I had mentioned in my previous video, my paycheck is not particularly exciting because at this phase in our lives right now, my paycheck only goes to a handful of things. That is investments, saving for tuition, a small amount of personal spending money, and a small amount of emergency fund cash envelope money. And that's pretty much it. But I figured I'd take the opportunity to kind of do a little bit of maybe a deeper dive into investing and where my investments are. The cash stuffing community is an amazing community, but there's a large debt focus in this community. And equally important is savings and investing for yourself and your future self. The last thing any of us want is for our children to have to support us financially in retirement because we did not prepare properly. So not everyone is in the same financial situation, and I completely recognize that. But if you can put a small amount of money away, it's better than nothing. And if there's any advice I can give you young cash stuffers out there that I see absolutely killing it and so much more mature than I was at your age, it's invest in yourself early. Do it consistently, do what you can, because time in the market is better than timing the market any day of the week. So I'm really excited to see young people just, winning the financial game early. I wish I had been as smart as you when I was young. So that being said, I have a small amount of money to cash stuff. So it's $20, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80, $90. And that's going to go to personal spending and emergency. And then I'm just going to go into my investments. So I take advantage of a couple different investment options. Not everyone has the same options. Some of you don't have 401ks available to you. Some of you are self-employed. So, this is just my personal situation and, my personal investment choices and what's available to me. So I invest in a 401k, which is a tax advantaged account. So your contributions into your 401k are with pre-tax dollars, but those dollars are taxed when you take your distribution in retirement. Hopefully, you're in a higher tax bracket when you're contributing and a lower tax bracket when you're taking those distributions. So it should fall in your favor tax-wise, but obviously we don't know the future or what tax brackets will be in the future. But that's the basic premise. It also reduces your taxable income for federal taxes. So in my 401k, I invest $495 from this paycheck. And my year-to-date contribution is $8,958 in my 401k. I believe the max this year for 2025 is $23,500. Don't quote me on that. I would love to max out, but it's not really in the cards right now. But I have in the past maxed out my 401k. And my husband maxes his out every year. I have a lot more things that come out of my paycheck than my husband does. So I cover all of our health insurance, our FSA contributions, things like that. So I have a large chunk of money that comes out of my check in addition to investments. I have an employer match, which will match a percentage of, my contribution. So I'm fortunate enough to be in that situation. If there's any advice I can give to young people out there that have access to a 401k and have access to matching, is at least invest enough to get your employer match. It is literally free money. It's 100% return on your investment. So at a minimum, as a young person with access to a 401k with matching, at least put in the amount of money that you have to get your employer match. So my match was $223. And their year-to-date match is $48.02. I am fortunate enough to work for a company that has the structure in order to take advantage of a mega backdoor Roth. There are 2 types of backdoor Roths if you are not able to contribute to one directly because of your income. There's a backdoor Roth where you contribute to an IRA and then roll it over immediately into a Roth. And then there's a mega backdoor Roth. So in order to take advantage of a mega backdoor Roth, your company has to be structured in a way where they allow it. So they need to allow after-tax contributions to your 401k as well as in-service rollovers. So if those two things aren't available to you, then you can't take advantage of a mega backdoor Roth. My company's large enough that they also incorporated automatic conversions, so I don't even need to call and make these conversions anymore. It just happens automatically every time I get paid, which is absolutely amazing. So I put the same amount of money in my mega backdoor Roth as I do in my 401k. This is the same percentage, but it is paid with after-tax dollars, so this money's already been taxed. And in a Roth, that money will grow, and the distributions are tax-free. So it's just kind of another strategy for having a different taxed bucket of money in retirement that's treated differently. So I'll have tax advantage account, I'll have my Roth, and we'll have after-tax brokerage investments as well as cash. So, can kind of better plan out our distributions in retirement. My year-to-date for my mega backdoor Roth is $78.45. They're a little bit different just because my bonus had some money taken out of it to go to my 401k. My husband and I have a joint brokerage account that we both invest in. So my paycheck investment is $175, and my contribution so far this year is $15.75. We both try and increase our contributions to this account on an annual basis at a minimum. So it's not a significant amount of money. I try and up it maybe $25 or so every time I get a raise, but it adds up over time. And then I also have a personal brokerage account with Vanguard. I have not invested heavily in it this year because I had surgery that I was paying myself back for essentially. So my personal spending money is mostly going towards paying myself back for that surgery. And I really only give myself $50 a paycheck. So $10 of that $50 went to my personal brokerage account. And my year-to-date for that one is $98. Hopefully in the next maybe year and a half or so, I should be able to go back to contributing at least $100 a paycheck like I was previously. My husband also has his own personal brokerage account with a different brokerage. So we each have our own individual investments as well, because he kind of likes to play around with stocks and maybe, do some things that I wouldn't normally do. So we each have our own personal money to kind of do what we want with. So I'm gonna add that up real quick for the month. So $495 plus $223 plus $495. So this paycheck's investments was $1,398. So that's a combination of 401k, which is tax advantaged, Roth, which is tax-free distributions, and a brokerage account. So we're just trying to cover all of our bases. And my total year to date is, that is 48,000 would be nice, but that is wrong. So the total amount of money that I have set aside in investments this year is $23,278. So it's pretty amazing. And the goal is every year to make that number bigger. So after my investments, I have $19.30 that went into my account. My personal spending is $50, but I put 10 of it in my brokerage, so I have $40 left in cash for myself for the next 2 weeks. I put in a combination of $50 between our cash emergency fund and our month ahead. It's not necessarily an even split. It's just whatever I decide want to go towards each every week. I think last week I did 20-30. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this week. And the remaining money went to tuition. All of my children have 529 plans that we've been contributing to for a long time. But the goal is to not touch what's in there right now in terms of like what we started with before they went to college until we get towards the end of their college careers, or we're in a year where we have multiple children in college at once. So my oldest right now is in a 5-year program. So potentially in his 5th year, I will have 3 kids in college at the same time. So that might be the year where we need to dip into some of our, like the primary money we had in our 529s before they went to school. But the goal is to cash flow as much as possible. So this 1900 is going directly into his 529, and I don't know what, I'm not sure if this is a federal, but at least in Pennsylvania, and I know this applies to at least some other states, if not all of them, you do get we get a state tax deduction for 529 plans here in Pennsylvania. So it's up to $19,000 for 2 children, so a total of $38,000 it can come off of our state tax bill, is deductible from our state tax bill. So if you have children and have 529s, make sure you're getting any type of tax benefit you can from your contributions every year. So we're basically putting in money and taking out money. We're putting in money and then immediately taking it out to pay bills. It's kind of a weird system, but we have to get that money in there in order to get the tax advantage as opposed to just directly paying the bill. So I'm going to quickly do my tuition. I have this covered because I custom make a lot of my trackers, so where he's going is like right at the top here. So we so far have, open my little binder here. So we had previously saved $22,400 for tuition this year. So we're putting in, it's not 1,900, my friends, it is 1,800, by the way. We're putting in $1,800 from this paycheck. So that's going to give us $24,200 saved so far this year. So this is, I made this tracker myself. I make a lot of my trackers custom because I know exactly how much money I want to save. So each icon here is $500. So this would be $22,000. So this is be 22.5. Trying to make this neat. 23. $23,500. And 24. So we have $24,200 saved so far this year for tuition. The goal is $55,000, which I know seems insane, but college is insane. We don't receive any aid, so my son has a scholarship, but that's about it. A scholarship and whatever he's taking in federal loans this year, which I believe is $5,500, but it's only like $1,800 a semester. Something like that. So this is my tracker. This is how my goal for the year. We will see. My husband and I get bonuses in March, so a chunk of this might be coming out of our bonuses. We will see, but we're just basically saving as aggressively as possible. And we do have our 529 plans as a backup, like what we had in there. I'm going to set this aside. So for my emergency funds, this is where the cash comes in. I'm just going to keep 20, 10, and 2 5s for myself. So that's my $40 in spending money, and that will go in my wallet. I might put it in a challenge or two that are my own personal challenges. We shall see. So half of that 50, or approximately half, goes into our emergency fund. And this is a cash emergency fund. So this is meant to stay in our safe in cash in our house. It's not going into the bank. Just to have cash here. So I think I'm just going to do 35 today in this one. So 20, 35. Got a lot of 5s left for the other one. which is fine. Okay, so in our cash emergency fund, we have 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So we have $150 saved up so far. And this tracker is from MSO Budgets. She has one where they're split to smaller denominations, and she has one where there's just one denomination in each icon. And this remaining 15 will go into month ahead, which is actually in this binder. So let me just find it. There it is. So this tracker is also from MSO Budgets, and month ahead we'll be getting 15. And let me get my little marker. So in our month ahead, we have 50, 75, 85. So $85 in month ahead. I also keep a buffer in my checking account. This is just to start saving towards extra buffer, essentially, extra money. There we are. And I think I'm going to put $5 of my personal spending money in my little savings challenge that I have for myself here. This was a freebie from Taryn at Breathe and Budget. It came with an order that I had a while back. I just laminated it so I could use it more than once, essentially. So I'm just going to color one of these. And this is another little freebie that I got from the Remarkable Dollar. And I'm just going to put 5 in here. And let's do a 1 and a 4. This is just like, I don't know what this is going to be for, but it's just a little like forced savings for myself from my spending money. So that's it. I'm going to put this $30 into my wallet for spending for the next 2 weeks. And my next paycheck cash stuffing should be around the 15th or so. My husband is paid twice a month, and that will be a full cash stuffing. But I appreciate everyone who came to watch and hear me ramble about investing. But I wanted to give a little more, just like be a little more open with like not just the cash stuffing side of finance, but also like that we're also saving for our future, and hopefully be able to retire one day. So I appreciate everyone who watched, and I will see you next time. Bye.